CrossFit Games. I'm Chase Ingram. Alongside with me is Adrian Conway. Mike Arsenault will be joining us shortly on the competition floor as it's the women's turn to take on the clean ladder.
The cleans are going to start fast and furious. They're going to do 3 cleans at 165, 3 at 175, 2 at 185, 2 at 195, and then finish with a single at 205.
What are your go-ruck steps to success?
These are straightforward, but it's grip and rip, especially on these light barbells, Chase. They have to approach it and immediately get it moving up into that position of support as fast as they can. And then power pays, which means that the higher they receive the bar in a power clean, the more advantage and the faster they will finish.
50 barbells on the floor here at Dickies Arena and more on these bars. Let's go down to Mike Arsenault.
Well, in order to accommodate all the bars that need to be on the competition floor, it's a little bit different than what you might experience at the gym. So these bars are slightly shorter, but only shorter at the collared area where you're actually putting on the weight plates. The general width of the bar where the knurling is, where your hand position is typical to an Olympic lifting bar, so familiar to these athletes as they move through this clean ladder.
Everybody knows about moving weight. That's very valuable that that middle part is staying the same. Your lane assignments in heat number 1. We'll have 4 heats of individual women in round number 1. 5 athletes taking the competition floor for the first heat. As we are getting set to go underway for heat 1 of 4 in round number 1.
10 seconds. Stand by.
Heat number 1 of 4, individual event number 6 for the women, clean ladder. I'd like to welcome everybody joining us from ESPN as we have 3 reps starting at 165. Now, Adrian, these weights are the same weights we had in 2021 in event number 6 with the clean run ladder.
Yeah, a bit of a different situation, a bit of a different stimulus for what athletes experience coming into it. But this is an athlete we got to keep our eye on. Kyra Milligan is someone who's very acquainted with moving heavy loads and moving them fast.
Kyra Milligan has been waiting for this event for about 5 until we got to here. 2 reps at 195 done and a final rep here at 205 pounds. Receiving that full squat and with ease, Kyra Milligan takes the first heat. Lexi Neely trying to get that last bar, 205. Center part of your lane, you have Emma McQuaid. Just behind over her shoulders, Dewan Jung.
Great lift there by McQuaid.
McQuaid will hit 205. McQuaid making her 6th appearance here. It's Dewan Jung, the rookie. At the far east throwdown. Crosses the finish line. Gemma Rader from South Africa. Working her way through that 195 with 1 lift to go at 205.
Now we talk about grip and rip, Chase. We talk about the importance of urgency. But for these women, they understand they might not be aiming to advance in this particular round scheme, but they still want to salvage as fast a time as possible. And that means they have to actually have to wait so they're ready.
Lexi Neely will hit 205. She'll get across the finish line. Gemma Rader misses. 10 seconds before he hit the count. And that'll be the time cap here for heat number 1. As Kyra Milligan sets the time to beat at 45:05. Now, Adrian, we have 4 heats of athletes. We're only taking the top 20 times into the second round.
It's important to understand you're not just looking left and right, but you're looking right at the clock. You're trying to get as fast time as possible because you know there's other women waiting, watching these times go down and understanding the times to beat. Kyra Milligan had some great execution all the way through, catching high in a power clean until she got to the last barbell, and then she received it in a full squat, woke up her legs a little bit, and prepared herself to advance to round number 2.
And Adrian, what you said right there is wake up the legs. We saw in the first round with the men a lot of shaky cleans out there with weights that shouldn't be a problem. As we move into the second heat of individual event number 6, the clean ladder. After that first heat, how's that looking so far relative to what we saw from the men's side?
Well, I'll tell you, we know we're going to line up in round 1. We're going to go 3-3, 2-2-2, advancing the weight 165, 175, 185, 195, and 205. And it seems as though, a lot like the men, the first barbells go down quick, and they expect that. But then somewhere in the middle, as you get to the second and the final bar, the second to last and the final bar, it's a bit of a rude awakening from what your body's already experienced, and they got to slow down and set up for those.
Your lane assignments here in heat 2 of 4, individual event number 6. Over there in lane number 8 is Andrea Pinheiro out of South America at Copa Sur. 41 years old. She also qualified for the Masters CrossFit Games, will be coming up at the end of the month.
That's right, and it's a beautiful thing when you see one of the older competitors have dual opportunities. She could go and compete with the Masters later, but she's here with the fittest athletes in the entire world, getting an opportunity to showcase all her hard work throughout her years that have clearly put her on the competition floor.
Another athlete is Sung-Young Choi. Third appearance here at the CrossFit Games out of the Republic of Korea.
Yeah, she was the first woman to qualify at a career through this semifinal process, and she's also a MAM athlete, so it was a quick flight from Korea to Cookeville for her preparation in order to come here. As we know, a lot of athletes from across the world come to spend their time in America to, of course, adapt to the situations that they'll be here when they come throw down in Fort Worth.
Shelby Neal also in contention here at a 12 State CrossFit, is actually a biomedical design engineer, moonlighting as a one of the smarter peoples here in the field here at her second appearance at the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, one of the athletes finding balance in her life, not fully full-time as a training athlete, but also balancing a real career that she's actually committed to.
Stand by.
Athletes moving to the bar, 3 reps, 165 pounds. Georgia Pryor had a great performance last night at Farrington Field. We had a 1,600-meter run followed by a field sprint, just to show you the diverse tests that these athletes are taking here at the CrossFit Games. On to the second bar at 175. Shelby Neal on the right side of your screen in the yellow tank top. Making a move here. Shelby Neal has a listed clean max of 255. Time to be in the upper left corner of your screen, 45.85. That was set by Kyra Milligan in heat number 1.
And that's the transition we're looking for, Chase. She went from a power clean, and that first squat clean was very smooth, and she stood up with great speed. That's often a skill that a lot of athletes don't develop from one transferring to the other.
Shelby Neal on the last bar receiving a squat in Adrian. We saw in the men's heat Austin Hatfield, who arguably had the strongest clean in the game, try to squat clean on the last bar and the last bar only. It's imperative that if you have the time and ability, should you get a couple of these in while you're racing before we get to that last round.
It's a great consideration, and that's where we talk about the levels of this sport. It's like, yes, do you want to get the work done? Yes, do you want to go as fast as you can? But if there's a way for you to prime yourself for success late and maximize points later, that might be the wisest choice.
205 pounds is the last bar. Lane number 4, center screen, Chloe Govan-David. Her second appearance at the CrossFit Games. She'll get across the finish line underneath that 2-minute cap. Julia Cato, also out of that South America Regional at Copa Sur.
Wow.
She'll get the last bar, 205, 10 seconds left. As we have Daisy McDonald and Georgia Pryor still left on the competition floor. Daisy McDonald, a high-level elite gymnast coming out of the Oceania region. She'll get hers later this afternoon.
That's right. That's right, and that's the beauty in the mixed modal approach that we execute in our methodology and in our sport. We get a little taste of it all. You get your time to shine.
Shelby Neal takes the heat win at 1 minute, 0.63.
And she does a great job here, Chase. Again, we talk about receiving. These are her squat clean reps at the final 2 barbells that we're going to get to take a look at, but she has some great patience off the floor. She meets the bar where it stops. That means she doesn't overpull with her upper body when she knows she's going to meet it low with her legs in that squat, and then she's able to drive right through the bar with her clavicle and put that bar into a finished open hip position for good quality reps.
Top 5 times in heat number 2, Shelby Neal taking the top time in the second heat. We still have 2 heats left to go. Of all the athletes stepping in for this event, we're only taking the top 20 to the next round. We're currently in round number 1, 2 sets of 3, 2 sets of 2, and a single rep. starting at 165 and adding 10 pounds until we finish in that last bar at 205. Adrian, what are your thoughts here after 2 heats on the women's side?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot like we saw from the men, Chase. And again, it's everybody's recovering from a thorough test that they've already withstood. 1,000 weighted step-ups earlier this morning in Chad. They're finding the energy, the focus, and of course the intensity to get through these heavy bars in round 1.
Lane assignments for the 3rd heat, 10 athletes. Keep an eye on lane number 7, Brooke Wells, who's fast, powerful, and everything you need to succeed in an event like this.
That's right. From history, we know that she's familiar with the heavy barbell. Chase, she's got one of the strongest deadlifts we've seen on the women's side. That tells me that she's going to have the capacity to receive the bar in a high power position very early and set a very fast time to beat in this round 1.
First time the CrossFit Games was 2015. As we go to the other side of the competition for Linda Caseman, 19th overall after 5 events, rookie here at the CrossFit Games.
That's right, finding herself rubbing shoulders with some veterans, some athletes who have even been on the podium at the CrossFit Games here in this heat. So how will she deal with the pressure when the lights are just a little bit brighter? And although it's a nice and cool room, she's feeling the temperature rise internally here.
Another young up-and-coming athlete who's had a lot of success in her short career, Alexis Raptis, wore the leader's jersey last year at the 2023 CrossFit Games for a couple events.
Yeah, and she had very high expectations for this CrossFit Games. I'm not sure she's in a position where she expected or hoped to be, but there's plenty of points left on the table for Alexis to move.
3rd heat, 4 total. The top 20 athletes will advance to the 2nd round of this clean ladder.
Stand by.
3 reps at 165 to start things off here. Linda Caseman in the front part of your screen. Just over her shoulder is Emma Lawson, who got 3rd last year at the CrossFit Games. Excuse me, 2nd last year. Alice Kazan in the center screen. Black top, green shorts. She'll advance her bar. And we got a tight race moving into the 3rd barbell. 2 reps at 185. Kazan in the center lane, still going touch and go, still doing power. Emma Lawson, just 2 lanes over, keeping pace with her. Getting to the last barbell, Alex Kazan. 205, and she powers it.
Wow.
Won't beat the time set by Kyra Milligan, but that is just enough. And everything she needs to get into the 2nd round. Lawson just behind her, and then in lane number 9, you have Abby Domit, local Texas girl at a Lone Star CrossFit. Hattie Canyon will finish, followed by Alexis Raptis. 2 athletes left on the floor.
Woo. Chase, it's going to be some close times on who advances and who stays back.
Claudia Gluck. Now these times seem slower, but it's a faster overall heat. We've had athletes that haven't even completed the ladder in the first 2 heats.
Kaya shaking out her legs. You see that she's preparing herself to fight through this barbell in the squat position. She got it.
No better place to hit a heavy clean in front of a crowd of about 10,000 people. Alex Kazan wins the heat at a time of 48.75. Kyra Milligan's time still the fastest we've seen. It's not about time. It's not about finish place per se. They're just taking the 20 fastest times into the next round.
That's right. And Alex Kazan made easy work of even this 205-pound barbell. We see one arm come under, the next arm come under. But the height at which she was able to receive that bar chase, that high power clean, is going to save her legs for the rounds to come.
Alex Kazan has the fastest time in heat number 3. We still have 1 more heat to go. Emma Lawson with the 2nd fastest time, followed by Abby Domit. Let's check in with Mike Arsenault.
Well, let's talk form for a second, guys, because we are seeing a lot of athletes decide to use a squat clean, decide to use a power clean. Alex Kazan did power cleans throughout that heat. Of course, her form was maybe a little bit questionable at the end. So my question to you, Adrian, is when do you decide to switch from power clean to squat clean, especially considering the goal of this event is to get the work done as quick as possible?
Mike, you bring up a great question there, and the idea here is that you want to use what works best for you, and you have to understand your limiters. So athletes who aren't going to be able to power clean any of the bars in this next round because the weight might be too heavy, it was a good idea for them to finish with a squat clean or two on the last round to prime themselves for round 2. Now, there were athletes that were also going to be under duress and have their back to the wall that had no choice to get the weight up whichever way they could.
The final heat of women here to start round number 1. We still have 2 rounds to go before we find out who's the fittest and the fastest in this event. Haley Adams in lane number 4 is back in competition for the first time since 2021, but this is the event that all eyes are on her at the moment. She's currently sitting in 3rd place overall. But with these weights in 2021, this is a tough event for her. We'll see if she's advanced that skill set 3 years later.
We will see, Chase, and we know that she took a year off. She's been working on herself. She's been working on her overall strength. It's increased. Has it increased enough for her to make her way through this first round of the barbells? It will be seen here very quickly.
One of the athletes, Paige Semenza, just an overall elite athlete, a diverse background of collegiate sports at the semi-pro level as well. This is one of those moments, especially at these weights, where moving quick, being athletic is a benefit.
It really is, and she finds herself in the top 10, just chipping away, being the well-rounded athlete that she is, scoring points where she can. This is going to be another opportunity for her to do just that. I don't expect anything like running away with this heat or particular event, but she's going to have some good output here.
Now, Bethany Flores is currently sitting in 5th overall. Bit of an up and down event so far. She's had a lot of top finishes and a lot of mid finishes. This is a big one for her as well.
10 seconds. Stand by.
3 cleans at 165. Your overall leader, the fittest woman on earth 6 years in a row. Tia-Clair Toomey back in competition after taking off last year to start a family. Back in action for the first time. Maddie Sturt on the far left, fellow Australian, is trying to hang tough with her training partner. Maddie Sturt back at the CrossFit Games for the first time since 2019, the first year she made it. She was barely 20 years old. She's advancing ahead of Tia Toomey to the last bar. Maddie Sturt on the left, Tia Toomey center screen, and it'll be Maddie Sturt just ahead of Tia Toomey. Well, these athletes are just trying to qualify to the next round. They're taking the top 20 times.
Chase, I gotta say, it was almost scary, the composure. The way that all 3 of those finishers had crossed the finish line and the composure that they had.
Amy Kringle is done. Grace Walton on the right side of your screen will finish. Daniel Brandon, far right. Talk about athletes in the field. Her skill set and the things that she can do are just some of the best we have in the game, but keep your eyes in the middle. Emily Rolfe on the right in all black. She's sitting in 2nd overall. Just to left, Bethany Flores in 5th, and Haley Adams, who's sitting in 2nd. We said these weights look familiar back in 2021. It's the same weights they had, but she took a 25th place with these weights 3 years ago.
Yep.
She's got to get in the top 20 if she wants to try to keep herself in the top 3 overall.
Yep. And this is where we talk about the well-roundedness. These women have done well up into this point. Strength hasn't been tested yet, and this is their first taste.
Now we'll have to see how they're managing who gets to the bar first, because a lot of athletes didn't hit that last barbell.
Right.
The question is how many athletes did finish this in this entirety as we take the top 20 times to the next round.
Right, and that's exactly why the power in what you're saying, Chase. It's not just these athletes competing left or right. It's overall, and we see Maddie Sturt, high level of execution here, neck and neck with her training partner, Tia-Clair Toomey. She does a great job at making contact with the bar low on her thigh, shrugging and receiving it high in a power clean. And wow, these weights looked very light for Maddie, very impressed. I think this bodes well for how she can fare in the later rounds.
Overall, round 1 results. Your top 10, Kyra Milligan at 45.85. Maddie Sturt just behind her, followed by Alex Kazan. So these are your 10 that are in. We're taking 20 and 20 only.
Hey, we're just getting warmed up here. Kyra Milligan did what we expect she would do. She is one of those athletes that has to see growth in other aspects of fitness, but with a heavy barbell.